Okay, I want to make sure we're recording. And I found my self-reliant entrepreneur book in the move. I couldn't find it anywhere, and I found it. So before I left Oregon, when we were doing these every day, I was reading a passage out of here and then a passage out of the devotional. So I'm going to start that again because I really liked it. Hopefully you guys did too. Good morning, Jordan. Okay, so it's April 2nd. This is also the best time ever for anybody to join our business. You guys, I'm going to make a post today. When I find it, you guys should go copy it and tweak it because it's like the best post for getting new distributors or PDTs to join you, because they have, if they join today, April doesn't count as their first month. Okay, May counts as their first month. So they have all of April, all of May, all of June, and all of July to earn that 15K bonus. So I have a post about it and I'm going to do it later. I just wanted to make sure I told you guys about it so you could go look and see what it was. Okay. April 2nd, the light of love. It is to the credit of human nature that except where its selfishness is brought into play, it loves more readily than it hates. Hatred, by a gradual and quiet process, will even be transformed to love, unless the change be impeded by a continual new iteration of the original feeling of hostility. The Scarlet Letter, 1850. Sorry, I'm going to have to keep drinking coffee, otherwise I sound like a massive smoker. I'm so sorry, guys. In your entrepreneurial journey, there will always be a tremendous raging conflict between your head and your heart. Ain't that the truth? Your head will ask, why is this so hard? Why don't people understand? Why must I go and do this all over again today? Ah, but your heart, when given the proper space, will readily answer what I must learn today to move forward, who I must meet today in support of the cause, and how I can greet each day with a fresh point of view. This conflict will carry on until you decide which one to listen, obey. The heart is seen romantically, philosophically, and metaphysically as the place where the flame of love is sparked and kept burning. Sure, love is often portrayed in the metaphorical sense or the greeting card sense, but like love, the entrepreneurial flame is kept alive in our heartfelt passions, particularly in times that seem darkest. Your heart is your compass. Passion, love for the day-to-day needs of your dream, requires incredible strength to hold in shape. Keeping the flame of love for your business alive will require you to step back by a gradual and quiet process. Oh, okay. I'm sorry. I read that wrong. Keeping the flame of love for your business alive will require you to step back and by a gradual and quiet process, imprint what you love about your business firmly in your heart. Then and only then can you go about steadily getting very, very good at what you love. The challenge question is, what do you love most about your entrepreneurial journey? And I'm going to answer that with you guys today, because all of that just made me think of my favorite part of this business, which is how much growth I've had in the last 3 years. It's kind of funny because I feel like I'm not even the same person that I was 3 years ago, but not in like a, I don't know that girl anymore, but more in like a proud version. I'm a proud version of myself. I've done hard work to get where I'm at, but I've also really grown to get where I'm at. I've had to get out of my comfort zone. I'd had to stop doubting myself. I think I shared this the other day, but one of our rubies, Sydney Childers, she's so incredible. Actually, she's Sydney, Childers on Facebook. Sydney, I always get it mixed up because it's Sydney Buckman in my e-suite, but it's Sydney Childers on Facebook. You guys, side note, whenever we're at conference, if I don't know your Facebook name, I'm like a mess. Like, it's the silliest thing in the world. But if your name is something different than what's on Facebook, I'm like, this does not compute. Like, I'm sorry. Have we talked before? That's so embarrassing. Anyways. Okay. That was just a fun little side note. Okay. So, what Sydney said the other day, and I loved it. We were on a Zoom and she was like, you know what? We were asking her how she was like the top enroller of everything, top enroller of samples, top enroller of distributors, top enroller of loyal customers last month. And she's a Ruby, you guys. It was so incredible. And she goes, you know, I just kind of took a break from doubting myself. Isn't that gold? Isn't that like freaking gold? I just took a break from doubting myself because she didn't do anything different. Jordan loved that. She didn't do anything different. She wasn't doing more haps. She might have been, you know, she was running hard. She's still running hard this month for Diamond. She wasn't doing anything crazy. She wasn't doing anything crazy, you guys. She's got 2 young kiddos, and all she did was stop doubting herself. She took a break on doubting. I love that. I love it so much. It literally spoke to me so much because it shows how simple this business really is if you truly believe in yourself. If you really work hard every day on believing in yourself, forget the work for a second, okay? If you work hard and actually helping your mind grow, and you guys know all of this because I pour this into you every single day. I feel like a lot of the times I'm a broken record and it's all I talk about. Hi, Renee. Good morning. It's all I talk about because it's so important. It's so important to keep your mind right. Another example, Emily Bickle, she almost got to Diamond last month, you guys. She was so stinking close. So thank God the bonuses were extended because she is running just like Renee is, just like Jordan is, Lisette, all of you on here, oh my goodness, are running towards these Diamond promotions. And I'm so excited to see what unfolds this month. But in the beginning of the month, Emily came to me and she said, and I hope she doesn't mind me sharing this, but she came to me and she said, I'm doing all the things. I'm doing all the things. Like, what is happening? Why am I not able to sign? I haven't signed a single distributor or customer to customer. What the heck said to customer? Anyways, and she's like, what am I doing wrong? And of course, you guys know my first question was, what are you doing for self-development, right? And she had been doing self-development. Her dad is a pastor, and so she runs the worship team and stuff at her church. And so she does a lot of devotional and she does a lot of reading in her Bible. She does a lot of that stuff. But I kind of had to explain to her that although all of that is very important and you still should be doing that every day, you know, we're meeting to do our devotional today but reading Bible verses and doing the devotionals and things that are important to you and important to your relationship with God, 100%, that is important. However, and this is kind of a sticky subject. I kind of hate like saying all of this because I would never steer anybody like away from it. And that's not what I did. I told her, make sure you continue to do that. But also we need to add in a book that is business oriented. Like, so for me, every single month, I like to read one book that is spiritual and one book that is business related. So maybe I'll do like a leadership book for me and my team, and then I'll be reading like The Circle Maker from Mark Batterson, and that's what I'm reading right now. So like I do a spiritual one every single time, every single month, because I'm the type of person that has learned about myself. I need both. I need that spiritual connection with God, but I also really need to grow as a leader. I need to grow as a servant leader. I need to grow. That has been my biggest thing. And you guys, if I'm being completely honest, I've shared so much of my journey with this business. Hi, sweetheart. She just brought in all my oils. I've been like diffusing oils because I can't do really anything else while I'm pregnant. And so she's lining them up on the desk. She's all right, babe. It's just the girls. They like to see you. Do you want to say hi? Oh, no, she's busy. She's busy. Okay. So what was I saying? Oh, I just came to this realization in the last week. And I always share like with you guys what I'm kind of going through at this time. But I want you to know this has nothing to do with any of you who are on this call. Okay. This has been like the last 3 years of my business. In fact, mainly the first year of my business that I was in. The first and second year, I ran and ran and ran and ran and ran. I bulldozed my team, you guys, and I'm not afraid to admit that. That's not a good thing, okay? But as a leader, I have to be able to take responsibility of how my business went, right? I saw red. It was I need money. I need to pay off my debt. It was me, right? And so I bulldozed my team. I ran them into the ground. I knew that I could do it on my own. Okay, I don't need you then. I'll just fill that box by myself, right? Can you say hi now? Hi. Hi. And I learned from that. I learned big time from that because obviously that did not work, right? And I had to really, you guys know this part of my story. When we went back to back triple and prez, I had thrown away my triple chart and I had took out 4 double diamond charts of people on my team that I knew needed that. And I started to help my team and I stopped just bulldozing. Right. And so there was a couple of times where I had in the past gotten people to a certain rank. Okay. Let's use diamond as an example, where I had gotten them there and then they just like didn't want anything to do with it. And I was hurt by that. Right. So like, I allowed that to affect me. I allowed it to harden my heart. I allowed it to upset me and get to me like no other. I've had diamonds and double diamonds leave my team or us not communicate well or don't see eye to eye. And they've left and taken their team and that's okay. But the reason why I'm saying this is because it took me a very long time to realize that I am a leader who wears my heart on my sleeve and will do absolutely anything for anybody at any time. Okay. And so it's funny because I just shared with you, I bulldozed my team and then I became this person who I've always been that person. If you guys know me, I've always been that person. Like I'll literally give you the shirt off my back. You want to promote to diamond? I'll promote you there. Like there was a time where, and I'm just sharing my heart real quick, you guys. I don't know if anybody needs to hear this, but there was a time that I helped promote somebody to diamond a couple years ago. And I kid you not, I was like, we did it. Like, I'm so excited. And she goes, yeah, but I signed one distributor. Like, that's it. Like, I only signed one distributor. And I was like, oh God, like I need to slow down here. Like, I need to slow down because I did not realize that I had bulldozed, right? I didn't realize that I was just, let's just do this. Let's just do this. And like, we'll just get it done. But in return, that is never maintainable for her. Okay. That was never maintainable because she was not at the mindset level to be a diamond, right? So she left. She went to a different company because she was completely overwhelmed and she was completely didn't understand what had just been done. And so on the flip side of that, I can tell you all of that now because I've learned that, right? On the flip side of that, when she left, I was freaking pissed. I was pissed. I was hurt. I was mad. I was like, I just helped you build to freaking diamond and get a $2,000 paycheck and you just left for another company. Like, what is this about? You know, it was that loyalty. It was that I was like, I just did all this for you. Like what in the world, right? I was hurt. I was so hurt by it. But then I really had to do some digging and figure out what really was bothering me. And it wasn't that it was bothering me that, you know, that I promoted her and she didn't want that promotion. She never asked for that promotion. I don't get to be that way. You know what I mean? That was just me bulldozing to get her to diamond so that, you know what I mean? So that somebody else could go double so that we could go, you know what I mean? It was just all this. I wasn't having my thoughts aligned with truly helping others. Okay. And I hope you guys know, I always have a heart for helping others. So it wasn't ever intentional. I hope you know that, but I'm just sharing my story to help you know this, that I think a lot of us that are hard workers, and they're on this call right now, a lot of us that are very, very hard workers that will do anything and go to the edges of the earth to help our team, but also to help. We need it, right? In your first couple of years in this business, it is about you. And I don't mean that, and that doesn't necessarily mean it's a negative. It's about you because you're still trying to get to your first goal of retiring yourself or of paying off your debt or whatever. And that's not a bad thing. That's not a bad thing that it's about you right away. It will shift. Okay. There will be a shift. You'll get your first $10,000 paycheck and you'll be like, I'm sorry, what? Like, we need to pump the brakes. And like, who can I help make 500? Cause like, I never asked for this. You know what I mean? There'll be a day that you will, very soon, I hope for all of you, that you'll just kind of like check yourself. And on that day, you might also feel massively unworthy like I did. And I had never felt unworthy in my entire life. I had never felt unworthy. I never struggled with it. I never understood it until I got my first $10,000 paycheck. And I was like, I remember sitting there being like, I need about $3,000 of this. That's it. That'll pay my bills. So like, what am I going to do with the rest? Who needs it? Who can I give it away to? Should I just give it to my dad? Like, literally that's how I felt. Like, this is stupid. I remember saying to Brian, no joke, you guys, this was a couple of years ago when we were both double. Okay. We were both double diamond and we brought in 10K that month. And I go, this is stupid money. Like, that's how negative I was about it. I was like, this is stupid. Like, nobody needs this amount of money. And now making almost double that amount, right? I mean, double, twice that amount as a presidential, that never has crossed my mind, not once, because I had to grow through that. I had to learn how we can help with that money. I had to learn how we can give back with that money. I had to learn what that could do for our families with that money. I had to learn, just other things. Sorry, I'm getting off on a tangent, but my point that I wanted to get across to you about the bulldozing was really my point of bringing all that in together was that this last week, I have realized that with all of what happened in the very beginning of my business, I have been very reserved. Yeah. Don't open them though, right? No. Okay. Thank you. I have been very reserved as far as being the best possible leader that I can be, because I've reserved myself and my heart so that I don't get hurt anymore. It took Brian really helping me to work through that and like showing me like, okay, look, you're not allowing this girl to be your friend because you're afraid that if she leaves the business, that it's going to hurt you. Like you're very business oriented with her instead of like asking her how she's doing, like type thing. And so I had to realize that not everybody's going to leave me. And if they do, that's okay. And I'm still standing and I'll be all right. Right. You know what I mean? But I can't live my life like that. And I can't train my team like that. And so I really have, this last couple of weeks been pondering on that and been excited to, you guys, I didn't set up my office for almost 2 months. It's almost set up now, but for almost 2 months here. And I couldn't figure out why. And just the other day I was like, it's because the last time that I had an office that I sat in it every single day and I worked my butt off, I felt like I felt like I did all of that. And then I didn't train my team well enough. I didn't help them to the best of my ability. And so I've been afraid to do it again because I don't want to do the same thing. I don't want to repeat history. I want to make sure that I'm constantly here for my team, which some of you may disagree. Like, I had a girl yesterday come to me, actually Casey's on here, and she's from a different team. Oh my gosh, it made my whole day. She's from a different team and she's in our team page now and looking at, our chat and everything. And she was like, I just have to tell you, like, you're such an incredible leader. And like the things that she said and what I do for my team just like really spoke to her and made her so impressed. And I was like, wow, because I've been sitting over here thinking like, I need to step it up. Like, I need to step it up. There's so much more that I can give. And I know that. And so that's been weighing on my heart very heavily, team wise. So what I did in that time was rein back. I still always am there for my team, right? But I reined back a lot and I started working my own business the way that I wanted to work my business. You know, I wanted to work my business around my schedule. I wanted to do all these things around my schedule and do that. You know, we've earned this, right? This is what I thought in my head. That's not an ambassador mindset, by the way. To say to yourself, like, I've earned this. I've earned the right to just like work whenever I want, and you know, and I'm still being successful, right? But how is that training my team exactly what I'm doing every single day? How is that showing them exactly what I'm doing? Because they're not seeing it. They're not seeing what I'm doing other than what I post. And that's something that really hit me hard, is like, that's the next level. In order for me to get to the next level, ambassador, it needs to be me showing my team, showing them exactly what I'm doing, showing up for them on Zooms, showing up for them on power hours, showing up for them on exactly what I'm doing. If I'm messaging, I'm showing them what I'm doing. And so anyways, I had an epiphany, and I'm excited about it because I found a new fire. I found a new fire that I think made me really excited and not afraid anymore, to help people get to where they want to be. And if they want to leave when they get there, I'm at peace with it. You know what I mean? Like, it has nothing to do with me. And I had so much fear over the last couple of years. No joke. This has been a long time. Like, I've had so much fear of like that next wave of promotions and that next wave of people that a lot of you are on this call. I had so much fear that we would get there and then they'd walk away from me. And I think that that has held me back for a very long time. And I'm done with it. I'm done with it. I don't know if any of you can relate to that, but someday, maybe. Okay, I'm going to read the devotional real quick. We only have like 6 minutes left. Wow, I blabbed forever, you guys. Sorry. Okay. So prepare your minds for action and exercise self-control. Put all your hope in the gracious salvation that will come to you when Jesus Christ is revealed to the world. So you must live as God's obedient children. Don't slip back into your old ways of living to satisfy your own desires. What'd you find? Socks? Socks. You must be holy in everything you do, just as God who chose you is holy. 1 Peter chapter 1, 13 through 15. Self-control and consequences. Sorry, can't read. If you are a parent, one of your greatest callings and challenges is teaching your children self-control. Yes, I know you wanted to hit your sister, but you have to stop yourself. You can't hit someone because you feel like it. Sure, your brother, friend, classmate tried to provoke you, but that doesn't mean you say mean things back. Make a good choice, honey. Don't roll your eyes at me, young lady. Okay, I had to add that one. A child experiences stress and heartache when they live to satisfy their own desires. Okay, I'm going to read that again because that was a good one. A child experiences stress and heartache when they live to satisfy their own desires. That can be like said about us, right? If we're trying to satisfy our own desires, our own selfish desires, that can bring stress and heartache. I love that so much. Their friends won't play with them. They feel guilt for being mean. They are punished for their actions. In the end, they get hurt even more. This stress is a direct consequence for doing what God does not intend. It's easy to see the consequences for failing to live God's way in our children, but sometimes we miss them in our own lives. After college, I certainly didn't connect my stress and anxiety with my holiness compromises. I was a brand new follower of Christ, and yet I wasn't satisfied with his love and the love of many wonderful new believing friends. I also wanted a boyfriend, someone to love me, whether or not he was God's best for me, and whether or not I compromised God's standards in the process. I intentionally hid the nature of my relationship from my Christian friends, knowing they would press me towards holiness. I knew perfectly well that I was being disobedient, and I did it anyway. It took quite some time for me to realize that the fights with my boyfriend, my distance from God, the conflict with friends, and my unusual level of exhaustion and stress at work were all directly or indirectly ramifications of that choice. ramifications allowed by a God who was using pain to wake me up. Friends, we have to confront the reality that sometimes the problems in our lives do not come because we're living in a broken world. Direct result of us failing to exercise self-control. Oops, excuse me. Sorry, I've missed a step. Hold on. Friends, we have to confront the reality that sometimes the problems in our lives do not come because we are living in a broken world or the enemy is attacking us. Sometimes our problems are a direct result of us failing to exercise self-control. We are not living in obedience. Just as we, as loving parents, will not let our children compromise without consequences, neither will our loving Heavenly Father. He is calling us back to a path that will bring peace. If you are honest with yourself, in what ways are you satisfying your own desires and not living up to God's standards of holiness? Pray now, repenting of your disobedience and asking God to help you to change. Then commit to God and to a close friend that you will walk in holiness from now on. I love that. And I always am able to relate this to business too. Self-control is such a huge thing in our business. And if we're not practicing self-control, then we're not getting a lot done, right? I can sit there and say I worked 8 hours a day, but if I didn't sign a customer and I worked 8 hours that day, I did something wrong. Like straight up, I did something wrong. If I worked a total of 8 hours, there was something that I can't remember who it was that Pam was talking to, but Pam had told us this story. Oh, Lisette, I just saw what you said. You're an amazing leader. Thank you so much. Pam was telling this story that was like something along the lines of somebody told her that they were working 12 hours a day. And she was like, no, you're not. Like straight up just called her out. Like, she's like, I'm working 12 hours a day. And she's like, no, you're not. If you were, you'd be ambassador. Like straight up just said that. I don't know, like just boom. Like I know it. You'd be ambassador if you were working 12 hours a day. Or maybe it was double ambassador. Maybe it was already an ambassador that she was talking to. But my point is, it shook me to my core because it's so true. If you are working 12 hours a day and truly doing income producing activities, guaranteed you'd sign at least 4 customers. Guaranteed. 12 hours a day. Most of us truly are working about 12 hours a week when we have other work, when we have other school, when we have, you know what I'm saying? Like when you have all these other things going on and you truly figure out how, you know, it's funny when you look at how much time you've been on social media for that week. And then you're like, I haven't signed a customer. Like what? Like that doesn't make sense. That doesn't add up, right? Because you're not doing income producing activities. And so that self-discipline, that self-control of, Lisette says, I'm working on it so hard. Yes. It's, you got to have that accountability. Like there was, it's funny because with what we do, you would think that the last thing that calmed me down, or like not calmed me down, but like winds me down at night, you would think that the last time or the last thing would be like being on my phone, right? Because we work on our phone all the time. But what's funny is like, if I'm really stressed and I'm really like overwhelmed from the day and I just want to kind of decompress, I actually look at Pinterest. I don't know that I've ever shared that with anybody. I actually look at Pinterest because it like brings me joy and it makes me happy. And it's just like, oh my gosh, look at all these cute rooms that I like can get all these like ideas from for my bedroom or like whatever. Like it calms me. And so that's something that I can like, you know, do to wind down at night. And it's so funny because every time that Brian notices, he's like, you have 2 minutes and then you're getting back to what you were doing. Like he's like such a good accountability partner of like, you have 2 minutes to do your little crap on Pinterest and then we're getting back to the messaging. Okay. Like you need to be doing income producing activities. And it's just so funny because it's so true. Like we're human, right? We're human. We need things to help us wind down, but we have to limit those things. Okay. We have to limit those things. So if we only worked an hour that day, then we don't get an hour of Netflix that night unless you're working through it. You know what I mean? Like you have to just, one of my favorite books, and I'll leave you guys with this. One of my favorite books was Atomic Habits. and he was talking about habit stacking and how in order to get in really good habits, you have to first identify your bad habits. Okay. And so when you identify your bad habits, then you can start to stack habits on top of those. Excuse me, not on top of the bad ones, but like, for instance, I make my coffee every single morning. Everybody knows that, right? So that's a good habit. Now, what can I stack on the back of that no matter what every single day, which is doing this devotional? Okay, so like making a habit is like the second that I make my coffee, I will go into my room, open my laptop, put the worship music on, and do my wake up with Rachelle's. Like that is a habit. That's a habit stack. That means that I will habitually start to do this the more that I do it. Or like brushing your teeth every single morning. You're going to brush your teeth, right? That's just a given. So what can you stack onto that to make sure that you are doing something that you need to do? So the second that you brush your teeth, maybe you're going to come get on this with me, right? And do your daily devotional. Or the second that you brush your teeth, maybe you're going to, send out 10 messages before you even get your day started. Whatever it may be for you, you have to create those habit stacking. So Atomic Habits, you guys, that book is so good. And it's really, really helped me with being intentional and not getting lost in the scroll, or not getting distracted with the day. And then all of a sudden it's 10 p.m. and I have to do like 3 hours worth of work. So just making sure that we're staying on track is easiest, and setting those habits in place to make you successful is what will make you successful. So anyways,